I love the syntax of the for loop in Python. My list equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for item in my list, print item. For item in my list reads like plain English. It lets you declare a new variable to hold the value of each element while you iterate through it. It's short and to the point. And I'm not alone in my love of Python's for loop. In fact, it's the most common loop you'll use and see others use as you program in Python. So like the for loop, I'm going to keep this short and to the point. All of the statements we covered on while loops, you can use in the for loop as well. So if we want to write a stub for a for loop and maybe come back and fill it in later, we can use pass. For letter, comma, animals in animal lookup dot items, pass. And it doesn't do anything. We can also skip the rest of the loop during that iteration with a continue statement. So let me just copy this. If length of animals is greater than 1, continue, basically else, print, only one animal, and let's put that animal in there, animals, 0. Get rid of that extra quote. We can also loop through and stop partway if we've already found what we're looking for with a break. So let's copy that, put a break in there, print, make it an F string, found, length of animals, animals. Now there is one really cool thing that we haven't covered yet, and that is using the else statement with a for loop. One of my favorite examples to demonstrate this is with finding prime numbers, something that computers do all the time for cryptography and security, and we can find primes with just a few lines of Python. So we're going to find all the primes between 2 and 100. For number in range 2, 100. And so this is the number we're going to be testing for primality. For factor in range 2, int, number to the 1/2 power. So we need to loop through all the potential factors of this number and test to see if the number is evenly divisible by that factor. And we only need to go up to the square root of that number, so the 1/2 exponent there. And if we don't find a factor by that point, we know it's prime. So if number modulus factor equals 0, we're going to break. We know it's not prime. Okay. Now we're going to add an else statement on our for loop. Okay. This else will only be entered if a break didn't happen in this previous for loop. So if our number has a factor, we skip the else. Okay, if that break's thrown, we skip the else. Else, we didn't find any factors, so we can safely print that number is prime. There we go. That's all the primes between 2 and 100. So very often, you'll see something like this written by Python programmers less knowledgeable than yourself, and what they'll do is they'll add an extra Boolean found factors variable. So let's say that found factors is false. If we find a factor, set found factors to true, and then if found factors, if not found factors, print that it's prime. And we get the same output. But this is a lot of code. It's messy. You have an extra check in there. Understanding and using pass, continue, break, and else will help keep your loops clean, elegant, and as we say, Pythonic.